Ah, here we go. No cat. There's a large absence of cat on my lap. There's a cat-sized hole on my lap, temporarily vacant, which reminds me of today's topic. Uh, if you're in the recovery world or the spiritual world, which you are, otherwise, why would you be listening to this? But you are, and there's a phrase that you have heard or might have heard or haven't heard, but you're going to hear right now. And the phrase is a God-sized hole. We hear that a lot in the recovery movement. It seems as though a lot of people in recovery um, felt a deep hunger for some sort of fulfillment or satisfaction or completion or validation or connection that was temporarily filled with some sort of substance or behavior. The whole recovery movement, whether it's gambling or drugs or alcohol or shopping or food or whatever it is, we seem to get the finite mixed up with the infinite. Oops. And we keep trying to fill a longing for the infinite with something that's finite. And while it seems to work at the start, it ends up breaking down and ultimately failing even worse. And it leaves us more bereft of fulfillment and satisfaction than we were before. And it's rather obvious to see why when we get the larger metaphysical picture. We're trying to fill an infinite gap, a space of presence and being inside of us with something that's material. And it'll never fit the bill, although to our mortal bodies it will temporarily. But ultimately, we see it very much as trying to shovel dirt into the Grand Canyon. It doesn't even, you just shovel it over the end and it vaporizes and you don't even see it hit the bottom. And again, this is reverting back to the first commandment is I am the Lord thy God and you'll have no other gods before me. And it's so decidedly human for all humans, whether they're recovering humans or not, because all humans are recovering, because this is a recovery planet. This is one of those 28-day planets where you get sent when you're a little bit on the material side. And so we do have a insidious proclivity, so to speak, to assign infinite importance to finite things. And this all started when we were very little. There was that one very precious toy, and we had to have it. And as soon as we got it, we would clasp on, and our brother or sister would try to get it. And then we would beat the crap out of them, or they would beat the crap out of us. It was a power game to see who got the toy. And then, 3 months later, the toy is in the front yard. It's all beaten up. Neither child is interested in it anymore. And we're on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Finally, you got the new car. My first car was a 1964 Rambler, and it seemed like the greatest thing, except it didn't have brakes in it. And one of the tires, I think, was missing. And if you went around a corner, the opposite door would fly open, centrifugal force, and one of my friends would dropped out, but they weren't that important of a friend at that point. I think you get what I'm getting at. We keep trying to fill an infinite longing with a finite thing, but we are counseled that seek first the kingdom of heaven, and then all of our finite wants and needs are met. It sure sounds simple, doesn't it? It's simple, but it's not easy. But in our meditation and our spiritual practice, we're continuously cultivating this sense that we're beginning to differentiate the infinite from the finite. We're beginning to discern and tell the difference between the true and the false. Finite things are always subject to entropy. They're always rising, peaking, and falling away. And they're the echo of the infinite. And when we remember that, when we deeply build that sense into ourselves that as we're looking at anything in the outside world, it's constantly in flux. And then we can appreciate its rising, its peaking, and then it's falling away. And we're never left bereft or brokenhearted when things move along because we always know the next thing will arise and peak for us. So I've really enjoyed the topic this week. And as we realize we all have this God-sized hole, this we are finite beings planted inside of us is this infinite longing, and this infinite longing will never be fulfilled by anything other than the Spirit and the truth itself. St. Augustine said, our hearts are restless until they repose in thee. And it's not, doesn't mean we have to, uh, doesn't mean we have to let go of the outside world or retire to caves in the Himalayas. It just makes us all the more able to enjoy the rising and the falling and the passing of these glorious worldly things that God always gives us. So I hope you found the topic interesting. I'll see you guys tomorrow and we'll chat it up. See ya.